then back to the 1. So what I'm going to share with you guys is just a few ideas when you're on the 5, instead of just playing 5 and back to the 1. So I just mentioned one where you play 3 major on the right hand. So if I'm in C, that's going to be E major in second inversion, with the E being the last, like the pinky melody. You hear that? So that's with a 3 major, and then back to the 1. Another one that I like to play with still the melody being on the 3. You could do 6 major on the right hand and 5 major on the left hand. So that's then back to the 1. Now it's when you try to name the chord, it will be like sharp 9, flat 5, blah blah blah. Like, I'm not thinking all the technical stuff. At the back of my mind, I'm just thinking 6 major, 5 major, 6 major, back to the 1. The first one I gave you was a 3 major with a 5. Another one with the melody on the 3 I like to play is oh yes, there's this one. So it's a sharp 1 minor. So in C, that would be like C sharp minor with a 5. All these chords are over the 5, eh? C sharp minor on the right hand and 5, G, G7. So that would be, now this is sharp 1 minor. Then back to the 1. You get it? So those 3 major with a 5, 6 major with a 5, or sharp 1 minor with a 5. That's if the melody is ending on a 3, right? So just like any song, like it doesn't matter. Any song, whatever you're doing. That's with a melody on the 3. Melody on the 4, I like to play sharp 1 major. So if I'm in C, sharp 1 major will be C sharp major on the right hand, but over the 5. So that's what I'm thinking. It doesn't matter what key I'm in. I'm just thinking to my head, sharp 1 or flat 2, major over the 5. So that would be, so C sharp major over the 5. It's dissonant, but when you play it in a song, like, any chords, just a 2, and then the 1. Now, there's something I'm doing. I do a lot of flicks. Some people call them grace notes. Those help, they help the chords sound nice and sweet. So you don't just want to play. Yeah, so melody on the 5, I like to play the flat 3 major. So in C, that would be E flat major, again, over the 5, right? So in any song, 2, that's sharp, that's flat 3 major, then back to the 1. Another one I like to do with melody on the 5 is minor 3 minor, right? So that's 3 minor over 5. That's a 2. Now this is 3 minor. Then back to the 1. Another one I like to do, which is very, very nice, is 7 major augmented. An augmented chord is just a major chord with the 5th raised up by one semitone, right? So in C, 7 is B. So we'll play B major augmented. So the notes will be B, E flat, and then instead of F sharp, which is B major, so for it to be augmented, it will be B, E flat, and G. So it's this chord. So it's 7 major augmented, so that the melody is on the 5. And then back to the 1. One thing I need to mention is all these chords that I'm saying, don't just play them in one inversion, like, because it opens up more, and it's very simple. If we were to describe all these chords, we'll be talking about sharp 9, flat 9, blah, 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 all that crazy stuff, which you can, but it doesn't make sense. So, yeah, again, real quick. I think that's 5 minutes for me. Melody in 3, we have 3 major over 5, 6 major over 5, sharp 1 minor over 5. Melody on 4, sharp 1 major over 5. Melody on 5, you could do flat 3 major over 5. I also did 3 minor over 5. I also did 7 major augmented over 5. I could go on melody on 6, 2 major over 5. Melody on 7, we could do 3 major over 5. Like that, there's so many options. Because of time, I think that's 5 minutes for me. But those are just some ideas. Music is simple. I don't think we should complicate stuff. Thank you for listening to me. You asked me about tritons. Oh, goodness. Wow. Do I have time for that? All right. My approach on tritons, just real quick, basic knowledge. A triton is 3 tones. A tone is 3 steps. Like from C to D, we have C, C sharp, and D. So that's a full tone. And then a semitone is, of course, from D to E flat, or 2 steps between keys, or it depends how you count it. It could be 2 or 1, depending how you're counting it. So tritons would be 3 steps. Easily, they're mostly played, especially in the type of music that we do, you play them with the left hand, and this is the universal sign of tritons. So if I'm playing the triton of C triton, I would hold C and F sharp on my left hand. Now for the right hand, there are so many rules. People have different ways of looking at it, but the easiest, one of the easiest I would recommend is, so if on the left hand I'm holding 2 notes, what I'm going to put on the right hand is a tone lower than my second finger, so but major. So I'm holding C and F sharp with my left hand. On the right hand, I'm going to play 2 steps lower than F sharp, which will be E. And then on the right hand, I just play the major of that chord. So if it's D and G sharp on the left hand, I'm going to play a tone lower than my second finger, which is G sharp, to F sharp. But it's a major. So that's what the right hand plays, the major chord 2 steps lower than the second finger. That's the easiest way I can explain it. Some people have different ways of explaining that. The reason is because this triton can be inverted and it will still remain the same triton. By that I mean C to F sharp, for example, is a triton, but also F sharp to C is a triton. That means my rule of playing a tone lower than this second finger will change if you invert your triton. I don't know if it's complicated, but like C to F sharp is a triton, so I'm saying you play E major, which is 2 steps lower than the second finger. But at the same time, F sharp to C is also a triton. And by that rule I've just said, that means we can also play what is a tone lower than C? B flat. So if I'm holding F sharp and C on this hand I'm supposed to play a tone lower, which is B flat. But then I've also said that this triton is the same. So if C to F sharp is the same as F sharp to B flat, and E works for the first and B flat works for the second, that means they're all interchangeable, if it makes sense. Application, the easiest way is, of course, as a passing tone, especially when you're going to a minor. Minor 2, 3, or 6. That's the easiest way to explain it. So in C, if I'm going from 1 to the 2, which is a minor, the easiest way, the quickest triton to play is the triton of the note in between that. So if I'm going from C and I'm going to D minor, in between that I can play the triton of C sharp, which would be C sharp and G on this hand. And I've just said you play 2 notes lower, which is F, and then you go to the 2. Any version of the 2. Yeah, maybe a 5 to a 6, because the 6 is a minor. I'm going from G, I'm going to A minor. I'll play the triton between the note. I'll play the triton of the note. So in C, like C to E is a diton, right? Or D to F sharp, basically like a 1 to a 3 in any key you're playing in. That's a diton. The easiest chord to play on the right hand when you're playing a diton in the left hand. For example, this is how I think about it, right? If I'm in C and do we know perfect fourths, like chords in the right hand that are fourths like C, F, and B flat, D, G, and C, F, B flat, E? Notes that are, so you're playing a chord and they are a fourth in between. Those are the chords that are best applicable with ditons. That's the best way I can explain it. I have very little time, but at the back of my mind, what I'm thinking is if I'm playing a diton with my left hand, let's say E and G sharp, my mind is thinking, I mean, this is just the way I do it so that I think quickly in the middle of a song rather than being technical. I try not to be technical. One of my mentors, Pretty Simple Music, always likes simple stuff. So I teach myself that if I'm playing E and G sharp on the left hand, in my mind I'm quickly thinking that my pinky should play the one of whatever chord that I'm playing on the left hand and just work a perfect fourth chord backwards. So if I'm playing E and G sharp with my left hand, which is a diton, in the right hand I'm going to play a perfect the perfect fourth chords, D, G, and C. But I work backwards from C, G, and D because of the diton in the left hand. Application mostly as a passing chord. Sometimes you can use it as a 1 or a 5, but the easiest application is as a passing chord on the 3 into the 4, or on the 7 into the 6, or even going into a minor, but that's very technical, guys. I think I've talked too much. I've tried.
Play something for us. Play. Play to Chigale. You want a drama? Bass, twetaga Steve Kepowero. I got a presenting Galiwa. Sound man, do you want to present? Diweti ediwa. Maka, diweti ediwali. Gundi asoka kube. Soko kube. Steve Temiako. Katwanirize birevu. Ladies and gentlemen, let's first give Steve Key Powell a chance to showcase his work. You are watching